the way to restore circadian rhythm. When modern lifestyle conflicts with physiological rhythms, the quality of our sleep faces systematic challenges. The latest research by the National Institute on Aging in the United States reveals that through precise regulation, the following can be reconstructed. The secretion phase of melatonin with a 47 increase in the MT6S amplitude. The rhythm of core body temperature fluctuation with the amplitude restored to 0.3. The diurnal gradient of cortisol with a 28 improvement in the slope. The core intervention strategies include 1. Photophagia upregulation projects. Morning light therapy, receive 10. 0 lux full-spectrum light irradiation from 600 to 800. Twilight color temperature management. Use amber-colored light sources with a color temperature of less than 3000 K after 1800. 2. Metabolic synchronization plan. Limitation of the eating window. Control 90 of calorie intake during the period of rising body temperature. Caffeine half-life management. Strictly avoid excitatory substances after 1400. 3. Neural relaxation training. Progressive muscle relaxation PMR. Conduct systematic training 90 minutes before going to bed. Mindful breathing method. Regulate the autonomic nervous system with the 4-7-8 breathing pattern. Empirical case. Ms. Zhang, a 78-year-old retired teacher. After a 6-week rhythm remodeling program, her sleep latency was shortened from 52 minutes to 19 minutes. The proportion of N3 stage sleep increased to 23. Her freshness after awakening index FRS reached 82 points. Her intervention plan included daily use of a circadian rhythm lightbox retimer, a personalized eating time schedule 700 Proti 12, 30-17-30, wake suppression training wave music therapy before going to bed. 3 golden rules for implementation. 1. Light nutrition management strategy. Receive natural light with naked eyes for 20 minutes in the morning equivalent to 10. 0 lux. Enable the night mode on electronic devices with a color temperature of 2700 K. 2. Optimization of the metabolic window period. Allocate 75 of carbohydrate intake to the period of rising body temperature. Increase the proportion of protein in dinner to 40 to promote the conversion of tryptophan. 3. Neuroendocrine regulation. Implement caffeine withdrawal after 1600. Start supplementing with melatonin precursors bananas almonds 90 minutes before going to bed. If you are determined to start rhythm remodeling, please type awakening in the comments section. Every decision you make is rewriting the trajectory of your health. New readers, please subscribe now to obtain the electronic version of the Circadian Rhythm Restoration Manual, which includes a personalized chronotype detection scale, a guide to using light therapy equipment, 70 rhythm-friendly recipes. Through systematic rhythm management, you will achieve a sleep efficiency of 92 or more, morning awakening in less than 15 minutes, an excellent level daytime function status index DFSI. This is not only a leap in sleep quality but also a regulation of the overall aging process. Join the rhythm revolution now. Click to subscribe and start health monitoring. The next issue will reveal epigenetic clock reversal techniques, including non-pharmacological approaches to telomerase activation, SIRT1 gene expression enhancement programs, mitochondrial autophagy promotion strategies. Let's unlock the mystery of biological age reversal together. Interactive hints. We look forward to you leaving the number 3 with comment section to let us feel your presence at this moment. If you haven't become a subscriber yet, we sincerely invite you to click the subscribe button so that the light of wisdom and the spark of inspiration will never pass you by. Now, let's get to the main topic, text reconstruction. Who is nibbling away at your precious time? When night falls, perhaps you are relying on that familiar little pill, which promises to take you to the land of sleep, and you choose to trust it. However, when the morning sun has climbed to the 10 o'clock position, you are still leaning against the kitchen counter, pulling the half-cold coffee residue, your head hanging down, and your eyelids feeling heavy as if weighted with lead. The sudden moment of wake-up signals still finds you trapped in a fog of confusion. Outside the window, life is thriving. The morning sun penetrates the glass curtain wall, scattering golden pieces on the carpet's pattern. The branches and the breeze are dancing a waltz, and the birds are performing a spring symphony. The streets are filled with the laughter and noise of children playing, but you seem to be in a transparent barrier, with your body staying here while your mind is wandering in a fog-shrouded city, and your energy is being quietly drained. That chemical creation that promised to soothe anxiety has not left before dawn. It is still wandering in your blood vessels like an uninvited guest lingering in the living room. According to the authoritative Journal of Geriatric Health Research, the elderly population who have long-term use of sleeping pills generally report a significant sense of fatigue during the day. This is not just a simple physical exhaustion, but more like the continuous siphoning of life energy. Even more alarmingly, research data reveals a deeper hidden danger. The thinking blockage caused by drugs not only leads to cognitive slowdown but also hides potential safety hazards. Language fragments disappear in conversations, and thoughts are like a kite with a broken string, difficult to focus. In some situations, this mental paralysis can turn into actual harm. The delayed stress response and the degraded judgment ability increase the driving risk of drug takers by 38. A 0.5-second hesitation in front of a stop sign is enough to rewrite the script of life. When the years enter the golden autumn, every moment of wakefulness is precious, and every sunny morning should be treated gently. When chemical agents erode these treasures, it is not just a trouble but a loss of life. Imagine the stolen scenes of life, chasing colorful kites with grandchildren under the sun, feeling the black soil slipping through your fingers while gardening in the courtyard, smelling the newly bloomed roses or ripe tomatoes, chatting with old friends about the past over a fire, or quietly watching the sunset painting an ink-wash painting in the sky. These small joys of life are gradually losing their color in the drug-induced fog. When drowsiness becomes the main theme of life, the vivid memories of the past are covered with a thin veil. This should not be the footnote of the golden autumn of life. After decades of hard work and growth, you deserve the right to clearly perceive the beauty. Be fully aware and fully present. Please protect your precious moments. Treasure those walks in the forest and the first rays of the morning sun. Don't let chemical agents steal the edge of your thinking, because this is not only about the dimension of time but also about the integrity of the quality of life. Interactive hints. Welcome to Type 7 in the comments section to establish a mental resonance with us. If you haven't become a subscriber yet, we sincerely invite you to click the subscribe button so that the nutrients of wisdom will always be with you. Now, let's explore the code of life together. Text reconstruction. The dialecticals of late-night wakefulness and morning awakening. The body has always known well the way to rest. The American Sleep Research Association clearly states that the passage of time does not deprive one of the instinct to fall asleep but only changes the form of sleep. The deep sleep in youth is like a whirlpool in the ocean, but now it has turned into gentle ripples. Perhaps you wake up quietly at 3 o'clock in the morning, listening to the whispers of the old house's wooden beams over the years, or gazing at the moonlight soaking the window lattice. Maybe you wake up naturally when the first light of dawn appears and need a short rest in the afternoon. This gentle rhythm of life is exactly a quiet poem given by the body. It has always been loyal. Medical authorities have issued a solemn warning that moderation is the wisest choice. Use it at most once a week or completely abstain. Research data reveals a shocking truth. Many top-tier institutions, including the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, have reached a consensus that the frequency of sleeping pill use in the elderly population should be controlled within twice a week. Except in special circumstances such as circadian rhythm disorders after cross-time zone flights or major emotional traumas, we must abandon the cognitive misunderstanding that drugs are harmless, especially in one's 70s. The potential crisis of this habitual behavior is far beyond what most people imagine. The root cause lies in the physiological transformation. The liver and kidneys, the two metabolic powerhouses, no longer maintain their peak period filtration efficiency. The chemical substances that were once rapidly metabolized now stay in the body for a significantly longer time and quietly accumulate in the tissues where they should not be deposited. The scientific research conclusion is clear. The white pills that once brought relaxation may, over time, turn into invisible killers that damage cognitive function. Benzodiazepines such as diazepam have a continuous impact in the body, triggering follow-up effects that penetrate daily life. If there is persistent fatigue, short-term memory decline, or a loss of balance when walking upstairs, These may not necessarily be the inevitability of aging, but are likely to be warnings of chemical residues. Professor Lin Zhenyu, a renowned sleep scientist, emphasized in Frontiers in Neurology that sleeping pills should be used as a last resort emergency solution rather than a regular treatment method. Research published in Comprehensive Sleep Medicine has confirmed that the risk of falling among long-term drug-taking groups increases by 47, and the rate of cognitive function decline is 2.3 times faster. These are precisely the aspects of the quality of life that we are striving to protect. The good news is that there is an expert consensus that in most cases, there is no need to rely on chemical sleep aids. Try to use the medicine only once a week or try to completely quit. There is still hope to regain natural sleep. This is not an illusory vision. There are numerous successful cases in clinical practice. Imagine the scene, lying in the skin-friendly and breathable linen bedding, no longer relying on external intervention, trusting the body's original wisdom. In the beginning, you may toss and turn, with thoughts like the tide lapping at the shore. But gradually, your breathing turns into a deep rhythm, and your muscle groups relax one by one, like an old ship entering a calm harbor. Interactive hints. Welcome to Type 9 in the comment section to let our thoughts have a quantum entanglement. If you haven't joined the journey of knowledge exploration yet, we sincerely invite you to set the subscription star so that the rain of wisdom will never be absent. Now, let's dive into the deep sea of life science. Text reconstruction. The awakening of the instinct for natural sleep. This gift of sleep does not come from chemical agents but from the eternal revival of the body's memory. But after a 7-day cycle, the wonderful balance begins to tip. The once gentle sleeping capsules gradually lose their soothing effect. The dosage increases from 1 pill to double, and then to 3 pills, forming a chain of dependence, like chasing the mirage-like illusion of sleep. If this situation seems familiar to you, please know that you are not alone. This is not only a subjective feeling but also a biochemical response of the nervous system. The dependence trap hidden in the drug mechanism has been activated. The metabolic system is undergoing a silent revolution. The liver's detoxification efficiency has decreased by 30, and after half a century of operation, the kidney's metabolic cycle has been extended to 1.8 times that of youth. The real crisis lies in neural adaptation. The brain builds drug dependence at an alarming rate, while physiological metabolism lags far behind. Data from the National Institute on Aging shows that it only takes 14 days to form a physiological drug dependence, and the efficacy of the same dose decreases by 42, even though the chemical substances are still in the body. The initial signs are subtle and difficult to detect. The morning awakening time is advanced by 90 minutes, and the texture of dreams is like faded film. Then, the long night comes, and the sleep is as thin as a cicada's wing. The increasing dosage is not for sleep but to escape the physiological alarm of withdrawal symptoms. From the perspective of neuropharmacology, benzodiazepines and non-benzodiazepines work by hijacking GABA receptors. These neural gatekeepers are responsible for calming the brainwave storm. The drugs initially succeed in eliminating the neural noise, but as the receptor sensitivity decreases, the efficacy of the same dose decreases exponentially. Eventually, it falls into a quantum-like state of half asleep and half awake, and the real rest has become a mirage. The consequence of missing a dose of the drug is a neural disaster. The sympathetic nervous system is fully activated. The heart rate is like a runaway horse, and the thinking shows a radioactive fission. This is not just physical exhaustion, but also an anxiety vortex that sweeps through the body and mind. The former sleep guardian has become a nightly ritual that must be performed. A more startling medical truth emerges. Those who have been using drugs for a long time may experience a reversal of the therapeutic effect, which is clinically known as rebound insomnia. For the elderly in their 70s, this is tantamount to a cruel betrayal of the physiological system. When the forced sedation by drugs lasts for months, the brain will generate a compensatory overclocking when the drug is stopped. The intensity of neuron discharge increases by 200. And the thinking shows an uncontrollable dendritic fission. At this time, being awake is not a natural state, but the nerves are as taut as the strings of a musical instrument. We must face up to the physiological reality. The proportion of deep sleep in the elderly population has decreased by 58 compared with that in youth, and the frequency of nighttime awakenings has increased by 3 points a times. With the superimpositions of rebound insomnia caused by drugs, high-quality sleep has almost become a theoretical concept. The Journal of Neuropharmacology reveals that long-term use of sedative drugs may lead to the degradation of the function of the sleep center. When the body has established a complete drug dependence, even a short-term withdrawal of the drug for 12 hours may trigger a collapse reaction of the nervous system. Interactive hint: if this content tugs at your heartstring, please use the number 2 in the comment section to resonate with us. For those explorers who have not yet joined the knowledge community, we sincerely invite you to tap the subscribe button and set the star mark, so that the light of health wisdom will never be absent. Every bit of your support is like a star illuminating the path ahead. Text reconstruction: the chaotic symphony of the nervous system. Being awake at this moment is not the normal physiological state, but the hidden backlash of chemical agents. The sympathetic nerve network is fully activated, and the concentration of cortisol soars exponentially. The thinking center is like an overloaded processor, and the body falls into an uncontrollable state of excitement. The palpitations are like dense drum beats. The peripheral nerves keep discharging and trembling, and the eyelids are as heavy as 1,000 cat eyes but refuse to close. You wander in the silent space in the early morning hours. Fatigue and anxiety dance together in the blood vessels. As the clock hand slides towards the dawn, this is not just an ordinary insomnia problem, but a long night filled with nervous anxiety, cognitive confusion, and an existential crisis. What's more suffocating is the paradox that the chemical key that promised to bring peace has now become the source of the neural storm. The brain electrical noise that should have been quelled has now turned into a roar in the skull. It's as if you have been exiled to the sleeping sanctuary in your memory, but there is always an insurmountable quantidire between you and it. The cruel medical truth gradually emerges. The so-called sleeping aids are actually carrying out a double betrayal. They not only steal the golden moments of deep sleep, but also push you into a more difficult-to-escape vortex of dependence. When the morning sun penetrates through the gaps in the curtains, the physiological instinct issues a wake-up command. You lift the fabric barrier and try to get up, but you encounter an unprecedented sense of spatial disorientation. The brain is like hovering in a zone of abnormal gravity, and there is a neurological disconnection in the perception of the lower limbs. The chemical residues are still swimming in the blood. Every staggering step while holding the wall is a dangerous game with gravity. At the moment of losing balance, the speed at which the cold floor tiles rush towards you is as accurate as the implementation of the law of free fall. For a young body, it may just be a subcutaneous bruise, but for a life in its 70s, this may trigger a domino-like survival crisis. Authoritative journals in geriatrics in the United States have confirmed that benzodiazepines such as diazepam and non-benzodiazepines such as olpidem will increase the fall risk coefficient of the elderly population by 0.1 times. The analysis of the mechanism reveals the cruel reality. The age-related decline of the metabolic system makes the drug half-life extend by 300. The chemical substances that should have been quickly cleared continue to act on the vestibular nerve and the motor center. The muscle response is delayed by 0.8 seconds. The vestibular function shows degenerative changes, and the bone density decreases by 40 to compared with that in youth. The latest epidemiological data from the CDC shows that falls have become the leading cause of death among people aged 65 and above. In 2022 alone, 36,700 lives came to a permanent halt in the long river of time. Behind these numbers are veterans who can no longer tell the stories of the war, and kind grandmothers who will always be absent from the graduation ceremony. The clinical statistics are even more shocking. For every 5 accidental instability incidents, 1 case will lead to a comminuted fracture or a traumatic brain injury. For most elderly people, this means a 9-month rehabilitation purgatory and the permanent loss of the ability to live independently. The chemical creation beside your pillow that promised to give you sleep is making a devil's deal with the quality of your life in the years of old age. The strategic value of maintaining neuromuscular coordination is much higher than the blind pursuit of chemical-induced sleep. Cognitive warning: if this discussion makes you think deeply, Please use the number 1 in the comment section to resonate with us. For those explorers who have not yet joined the health community, we sincerely invite you to start subscribing and set the knowledge star mark. Every symbol of your support is like a lamp illuminating the fog of cognition, text reconstruction, the cognitive hijacking in the time zone of life. Every chemical key is accelerating the countdown of the brain's age. Natural sleep is originally a regenerative ritual of the nervous system. Imagine your brain as a sophisticated information archive. During the deep sleep period every night, it's like a professional information organizer who, after the archive is closed, systematically files the memory fragments and clears the redundant data in the synapses. This is the real cognitive redo. The cruel discovery in neuroscience is that dependent chemical sedatives are disrupting this mechanism that has evolved over millions of years. A major study in the Lancet Neurology reveals that long-term use of benzodiazepines such as diazepam increases the incidence of Alzheimer's disease by 62. This correlation is by no means accidental. The accumulated evidence has formed a warning chain that cannot be ignored. When we enter the period of wisdom accumulation, the neural architecture is undergoing a natural transformation. The dendritic synapses are gradually simplified. The concentration of neurotransmitters naturally decreases, and the slowdown of cognitive speed is a gift of time. But when chemical intervention comes in, this elegant aging process may turn into an irreversible cognitive collapse. These drugs, by hijacking the GABA receptor network, forcefully reduce the frequency of brain electrical activity. In the short term, it seems to bring a false appearance of sedation, but in the long term, it causes pathological changes similar to degenerative encephalopathy. Memory retrieval is like looking through frosted glass. The logical chain of thinking breaks frequently, and the reaction time accelerates by 2.3 times compared with natural aging. The tracking study by the Brain Science Center of the University of Cambridge shows that, among the elderly population who have been taking drugs continuously for more than 90 days, the probability of developing early cognitive impairments is 178 higher than that of their peers. This means that you may pay the price of the collapse of the precious memory treasure trove. For the short-term chemical sedation, imagine those shining moments of life that should have been. Your grandchildren curl up on your knees and ask about the family's past, but you can't retrieve the old photos from the memory database. Or on the golden wedding anniversary, you suddenly become speechless, unable to remember the color of your partner's eyes when they were young. Exchanging clear thinking for chemical-induced drowsiness is not only a lack of foresight, but also a heartbreaking self-deprivation. It should be made clear that science does not deny all drug interventions, but strongly warns of the risks of dependence. The closer your symbiotic relationship with sedatives is, the steeper the slope of cognitive decline may be. Real-life snapshot. Think back to the night when you first took the drug. The pill reflected a glimmer of hope in the palm of your hand. After taking it with warm water, the boundaries of reality gradually softened, and your thoughts subsided like the ebbing tide. This long-lost peace was intoxicating. But beware, behind this gentle chemical veil, there may be a chronic theft of cognitive function hidden. Cognitive opening. What you touch with your fingertips at this moment is not just a chemical sleeping aid, but a network of dependence being quietly constructed. Over the years, it is like a silent contract, especially after the passage of years in one's 70s. Deep sleep has gradually become a rare treasure. But what if this chemical key that promised peace is turning into a Trojan horse in the cognitive field? Truth warning. When the shadow area of chemical intervention far exceeds its short-term sedative effects, when the balanced perception system is eroded, when the clarity of thinking continues to decline in dimension, and even the survival of life faces a potential threat, does this possibility make your spine shiver? We deeply understand that sleep in the years of old age is becoming more and more precious, that the medical truth about chemical sleep aids may be colder than the winter frost. This film will reveal 7 sleep truths that subvert cognition and redefine the dialectical relationship between rest and the quality of life. Those who persevere until the end of this film will unlock the natural sleep optimization plan certified by neurologists. Without any chemical intervention, This secret technique, based on the regulation of biological rhythms, may reshape your nighttime ecosystem and protect the cognitive territory in old age. If this topic touches your heart and resonates with you, please give the energy for the wisdom of this film to spread. Every click of your fingertips is helping to pass on the spark of health knowledge for the elderly. For new knowledge explorers, we sincerely invite you to start subscribing and activate the notification bell. Let's jointly build the cognitive defense line against aging. In the absolute silence at 3 o'clock in the morning, you have already played several rounds of games with the god of sleep. Your eyelids carry the fatigue as heavy as lead weights, but your consciousness is still wandering in the abyss of wake-up signals. After swallowing that white chemical messenger, in the paradoxical time and space of the delayed effect of the drug, the concentration of neurotransmitters begins to fluctuate and reorganize. The ripples of thinking gradually subside. The muscle tension relaxes like the ebbing tide. And finally you fall into the chronic state of superficial sleep.